Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Summary. I'm your host, Kyle. With me, as always, is Steve. Incredible match yesterday, mainly because of the ending and the timing of Darwin Nunez's goals, the two goals. He always seems to show up when we're questioning him the most, when the criticism is the highest and when the pressure is the highest. It seems like he just comes out of nowhere and just shuts everyone up, right? But then he might go 10 games or so without a goal. But we'll get your thoughts. And everyone, leave your thoughts in the chat throughout the show. But before we do that, good morning to Steve. Good morning to everyone in the chat. How are you doing today, Steve?
Relieved. Well, yesterday was my birthday. So shout out to everyone who wished me happy birthday, especially our members in the Discord chat. If you're not a member, consider joining. It's very affordable. We don't make money off it. It just supports the channel. And we'd love to have you.
Yeah. It does at this point. Everything that you guys do just keeps it going because of the cost of everything is ridiculous now. The software we use to stream went up like $200. It's absolutely crazy. But aside from that, good chat.
And it's shit.
It's garbage. It's dog shit, to be fair.
Yeah, and it's absolute shit. Oh my goodness.
Happy belated to Steve.
Where'd he go? Oh man. Let me know in the chat. Can you guys still hear me? It looks like I'm alone, which is totally fine. Happy to run with it. Thank you to everybody who is.
What the hell?
There you are. Wait, now I'm on the left.
Oh my God. You can stay there.
Oh, no. I'm going to leave and jump back in. I can't do this.
No, that's lame. He should have stayed over there, man. He looks good on the left, doesn't he? The right makes him look ugly. But hey, that is what it is. But good morning to everyone in the chat. Stellar, Artio McDodge, Inspector Gary, Hannah, Tony, Mom, Yogesh, Yo Cool, Groover. Oh, a lot of y'all are in here. Good morning to everyone. Spencer. And Steve, I think you looked way better on the left.
Really?
Yeah, you're because the right, I don't know, it just makes you look a little ugly.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it is what it is. You're already over there. So, Steve, remind everyone how old you are.
21.
Nice. Damn.
21.
You look older.
Put some whiskey in my coffee this morning.
What the hell kind of coffee is that? It does look like whiskey.
Literally just spilled it all over the place. Jeez.
Oh man, that's classic. So it is all good, man. But guys, I mean, the fact of the matter is that Darwin Nunez just shut everyone up yesterday, it seems like. Okay. I personally believe that this man is like a boiling pot of water, right? And he's boiling. Eventually it's going to spill over. And I feel like that's what happened yesterday. I feel like at a certain point in time, he's just going to score. He's a striker. That's what he does. And in the interview after the game, you see Darwin talking about, the drive. I'm always committed. I'm never going to give up, this and that. But what really spoke to me was how excited the rest of the team was. Now, you could chalk that up to the fact that it's a 91st minute winner or 93rd minute winner. But it seemed genuinely, Steve, like everybody was so thrilled for him to get those goals.
Yeah, I think a big part of it was the timing and how important the goals were. But they know how hard he works, and they're happy for him. These guys spend almost every waking minute together, I feel like. So they're close, right? And there's rumors that he's going to get sold and this, that, and the other thing, and he can't find a goal if his life depended on it. And then we're in a position where our results haven't been great. It's 0-0 at the 91st minute. He bangs one in and then bangs another one in, and he's back on top of the world. Now, let's be realistic. In my opinion, neither finish was super clinical, and those are chances that he should put away. I mean, the second one, he just blasted it as hard as he could right down the middle. I'm really surprised it was even on target. But Having said that, credit to him. I'm sure it feels good for him. That does not mean he's getting in the starting 11 on a regular basis now or anything like that, right? Nothing has changed. He
No.
still needs to do a lot better. But man, what a relief it was seeing him score yesterday, and then watching Arsenal blow a 2-0 lead. It was
Oh
beautiful.
God, it was awesome. I was watching the Arsenal game, and I'm just God, it was so satisfying. LFC for life here on basically the title, right? Which is of the video, which is everyone knows Darwin Nunez an apology, which we'll get into here in a second. But says owe him an apology for what? Let him do his job. 3 goals in the Premiership, not good enough. Nunez needs to hit 15 to 20 goals this season. Can't keep relying on Salah. You'll never walk alone. I think I'm not going to disagree with you. I feel like that's a valid point. Like, you paid 85 million for the guy, and you expect 15 to 20 goals from him. But we talked about this last week, Steve. He had 18 goals last year.
No, he's going to get 15 or 20 goals.
That's
my
crazy.
guess.
You think back
in
to
all
it,
comps, he has 6 right now.
Right, in all comps. So he's behind schedule, right?
Yes.
He's behind schedule. But
barely.
Thus far, since he's been here, that's not the return we expected, 85 million, but 18 and 13, I think, is what we settled on. That's not bad, right? And this season isn't over yet. So I think you judge him after each season. I think it's crazy, though, that just last week we're saying sell the guy, right? Myself included, like saying, he might not be good enough. Dan's comes in, produces, and Darwin doesn't, Now, of course, a lot of this is talking points, but I truly do think that a lot of the people hating on Nunez are very vocal when he's not doing well. And then when he does well, they just shut up. Right? They're not supportive when he's not doing well. They're more critical. And then when he does well, they're not like, thank you, Nunez. They just don't say anything. Right? So there's two sides of it. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to, there's just a different type of fan is what I'm getting.
I'm following you. Again, this doesn't change anything as far as his overall performance. It's just, it could have been anyone yesterday. I'm glad it was him because he needed that.
Yeah.
Hopefully that gives him a little bit more confidence, but I don't expect him to all of a sudden start banging in the goals. But at the end of the day, 3 points, and boy, did we need it. He stepped up when we needed someone, anyone. Someone in the chat, it might have been Ross or I don't know. Somebody was just saying, like, anyone step up, please. Like, is anyone going to help us out? Please, anyone. Any takers? And there he was.
Here he comes.
At the double.
Seriously.
With a brace.
Yeah. And, he took his shirt off at the first one. He didn't expect to score a second, man. But it's like, is this what you do? I mean, you did it against Newcastle, right? I don't know if that was last year or this year. I can't even.
That was last year.
Yeah, everything's blending together at this point. But I see the potential there, man. That's what pisses me off to no end. Is you have this guy who's in his third season, I believe, and you just see these flashes of brilliance, these flashes of pure skill, right? And like you said, nothing super clinical yesterday, but the fact of the matter is he finished. That's all we've been asking for is finish. Don't hit the post. Don't miss sitters. Finish. That's what he did. He did it twice. And you see that and you're like, why can't you do that every time you're on the pitch? Because he gets chances every single match, bro. Every match.
I actually think he had a couple other chances yesterday. I think he had one that he blasted like right at the keeper.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I can't remember, but yeah, I think he also had a header that went wide. He gets so many chances.
So many. And he knows that. Right? He knows that. And Ross says he's so unpredictable. That's just a good way to put it. It's consistency and predictability. And that's why he doesn't start. Right? He's probably good enough to start, but only if he was consistent. Could you put him in there because of the amount of chances he gets? What else we got in here?
So the issue is he needs to play consistently to get going, but we also can't afford to play him consistently until he gets going. Right.
Truer words have
This is
never
the
been
two
spoken.
Yeah, this is a great comment. Um, it's so true. He's one of those guys well, maybe it's not so true. It makes sense, but he's totally out of form. He hasn't been playing a ton consistently necessarily.
Yeah.
Even with Jota out, like he's still struggled to find game time at times. And we just throw him in the mix yesterday. Hail Mary. Darwin, can you do something? And he does it. He did the same against Newcastle. So
Yeah.
maybe he's just yeah, here you go. Darwin scores more goals off the bench. Check the stats. Doesn't surprise me. That makes sense.
Well, to be fair, doesn't he come off the bench most times? So wouldn't those numbers be inflated?
Well, no, I think either way, if you take the number of minutes he's played from starting 11, it's definitely more minutes than off the bench.
I see. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah. You were about to say something. I don't know if you finished it, but I think you were saying like maybe this is what he is. Maybe he's just a guy who comes off the bench and can occasionally do something. And if that's the case, because it's really kind of what we've seen for 2.5 years, what is the plan going forward with Darwin? Do you keep him in this capacity because he can get you these results at the end of games? It seems like, right? He can have a good run of form, and at the end of the season, we can kind of say what he's able to get you throughout the year. Um, but I don't know if it's. I mean, there's no reason to get rid of someone who produces, even if it's inconsistently, right? I don't think that's what we're talking about here. I think we're talking about the fact that the guy is so painfully inconsistent that it's like, are we losing more with continuing to trust him in these moments as opposed to giving someone else a chance? Does that make sense? That's kind of what I'm getting at. But I don't think there's anyone else. I mean, unless there's Dan's or Jota's healthy, which, dude, I'm getting pissed about Jota. I really am.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
It's really
We
starting
don't.
to bug me.
Here's the thing. It's like he could go play every minute of a season for a smaller club. Darwin. If Jota was fit, he would only be a sub. If Jota was fit and Gakpo is still in decent form as he is, and Diaz is having a pretty good year, that's all Darwin is a sub. The question will become, is he okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Is he okay with that playing for, one of the biggest clubs in the world, probably the best club in the world right now, and not starting every match? Playing in the Champions League more against some of the lesser competition, playing in the cups, and then being a sub in the Premier League. Coming on and with fresh legs and his pace and playing 15, 20, 25 minutes a match. That's what the question is going to become. And if he's not okay with that, then you can recoup some of your money and sell him for 50 mil.
And before I get into my point, I just want to say thank you to Oyvind. I did the conversion on this because I didn't know, and it's 4.37 right now, US dollars. So thank you very much, Oyvind. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Always appreciate the support. And oh God, now I shouldn't have done that. I should have kept my train of thought going because now I forgot. But oh God, you said the manager has he gotten the best out of him, or was that a comment? No, that was Ross.
That was a comment.
Yeah, so that was Ross saying, has there been a manager who gets the best out of him? Oh, no, this is what I was going to say. So we always talk about players who say they want to leave to get more game time, regardless if it's on Liverpool or another team. And you can understand that point. You can understand a player who's sitting on the bench who wants to consistently play, right? But then we always talk about this is the best it's going to get right now. Arguably, you could argue there's no other better situation to be in as a professional football player than to be on Liverpool Football Club at this moment. right? And I think Darwin knows that. I think most players know that. Okay, I think Elliot knows that with his comments, right? I mean, Elliot is more so he loves the club, he's here, he's a Liverpool player, but with the links to Dortmund and all that stuff. Players know this is the best place to be. And so Darwin, as long as he's seeing the pitch, I think he's going to be satisfied. I don't think he's going to want to go anywhere. And I think the same goes for literally anybody else, unless you're a young player and you're getting loaned out. Okay, that's the difference. But even Chiesa, right? The links with Chiesa leaving in January, either on a loan or we wouldn't sell him, but on a loan. Everyone knows that you'd rather play intermittently and be on a good team and have good chemistry and be part of that winning environment. In my opinion, most 95 would say I'd rather be in that situation than be loaned out to a team I don't know, right? Different country, and play all the time and miss out on being part of that winning culture. I mean, Liverpool we're still in for every trophy, aren't we? Or did we lose? We lost to Tottenham, but we have another leg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
still in.
We're still in for every trophy. So you look at that and you're like, I don't want to be loaned out now. Like, I want to be a part of all that. Right? So I think that motivates every player. Like, let me play my best to fight for my position, to be part of this. Right? I don't want the club or anyone else to look at me and say, this guy's not really trying, or you can tell it in his attitude, he wants to go, and then loan me out. And I think that's the culture you want to build. I mean, Harvey said it. We're not just a team, we're a family. By the way, Harvey, some of the comments that he has, this kid is super mature and this kid just gets it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think Harvey truly understands what it means to play for this club. And it's not just media training. I mean, this kid is very intelligent. I want to give a shout out to Harvey for that. And when it comes to Darwin, a player like that with so much controversy surrounding him, I don't think to him it matters. I think to him, all he wants to do is be successful at this club. And so coming back to the fans, we're allowed to be critical, right? We're allowed to. But I think if you're going to be critical of a player when he's down, you have to be happy for him when he does well too. Right? You can't be silent, right? And I think those particular fans are trying to have their cake and eat it too in a negative sense. They're trying to say, "Oh, Darwin's not good enough, sell him." But then he does this for us, 2 goals at the death to get a crucial win, and those same fans aren't saying anything. Right? And that's where I think those fans owe him an apology, because you should be supporting this guy regardless. Because we know the fans that are just like, "Oh, Darwin, I want you to do well." They were ecstatic yesterday. So I think you just have to support everyone, whether they're playing good or bad, whether they're injured or not. And that's ultimately what I wanted to say, man.
So good points. It depends on what the ambitions are. If the ambitions for a player are trophies and being at a club that loves its players and playing in the best stadium on earth, if the club is the priority, then he will stay and he will want to stay. I don't know enough about Darwin as a person to know if that's what his ambitions are and that's what is important to him. I would not be surprised, and this is just me taking a shot in the dark, I would not be surprised if, coming from where he comes from, he just wants to play. He just wants to play the sport, score goals, individual accomplishments, and hopefully win some trophies along the way. Because the thing is, when you look back on your career, do you want to remember these prime years of your career as winning some trophies, which is great, playing for a big club, but constant controversy, constant hot and cold emotions from the fans in terms of your performance, constantly blasting the bar? First year, you were offsides 1,000 times. Second year, all you did was hit the post. Third year, you can't find the net. That adds up.
Yeah.
And when you look back on your career, like this, he was great. And then he came here and he's been whatever. but then he could then move on to another club and be great. So this would be a blip on the radar. It's tough to say because we don't know what he's really thinking. But I will say it looks like he gives his all for the club. I would not be surprised if he stays or goes. I have no idea what's going to happen with him. I think at a certain point it's going to become his decision.
Yeah.
Because he's taken so much heat.
That's really what it is. You know, I mean, I don't think there's anyone behind the scenes that wants him gone. Right? I think it's just the expectation he had coming in. And let me just ask you flat out, and you guys can let us know in the chat. What do you think percentage-wise, not even percentage-wise, that's a stupid way to ask it. How much effect of these harsh opinions and criticism is down to the price tag? Like, if we got Darwin on a free, I think it drastically changes what we're talking about.
Oh, absolutely. But we've talked about this before. That's the rate. That's the market. 85 million. And what you did at that point was you paid for potential. We just haven't been able to fully unlock that potential. Ross said earlier, like, is there a manager that gets the best out of him or whatever? I don't know. He should be crushing it in this system as far as I'm concerned. Everybody else is finding success. Wingers, strikers, midfielders. Everybody seems to be doing okay. Gakpo, Diaz, Jota when he plays.
Unbelievable.
Dance.
The
system's built to score.
It is. The system is built to score. You're absolutely right. This, for some reason, the name Christian Benteke just came into my head, dude. Because Christian Benteke was the last quote-unquote pure striker that Daniel Sturridge probably, you could argue, but why it seems like, is the system more catered towards a false nine, a guy who can hold up play? We don't have to go down this rabbit hole a bunch, but do you think he's struggling with that type of play? Like, I have to be on the ball more.
No, I don't. I mean, yeah, maybe he is struggling, but I don't think the system is designed necessarily to put him in those scenarios all the time. Look at all the long balls we put in over the top. If there's one trait, Kyle, if I were to say to you, and just answer this honestly, there's one trait that Darwin has that's his best trait, what would you say?
Positioning or getting in dangerous areas.
There you go.
Yep.
And part of that is making runs.
Yes.
Into a dangerous area.
Oh, running, for
runs
sure.
in behind. And this system, those balls over the top, they're made for that.
Yep.
How many times have we seen Mo Salah just get like a lobbed ping from Trent and then be one-on-one with a defender? How many times have we seen a ball go over the top to Gakpo? Darwin's built for that type of reception.
He is.
Of a ball from the back line or from McAllister, a little chip over the top. So
all right. So maybe you're right. Yeah, maybe that's just a shit take on my part for the system. I know he's a very unique type of player compared to every other forward we have. He's much different.
He can't dribble. Is what you're saying.
That's it.
He can't dribble and he can't pass.
He can't dribble. That's exactly what I'm saying, actually.
Yes.
He also can't finish, to be fair. You know?
Yeah.
But let's head over to the chat here. Give a shout out to Liz. Liz is coming up on the big 5-0, man. What is that? That would be the golden membership anniversary, right? Yeah, because 25 would be silver. Yeah. Whatever. So coming up on 50 months, 49 months for Liz. Thank you very much, Liz. Hope you're doing well. She also gifted a channel membership. Thank you for your support. Ardio here saying that I still maintain that he's made to be a right winger. Very interesting. I mean, he did play it. Wait, right winger? Hold on.
I don't hate that take.
I read it as left winger because that's what I would assume everyone would say. But right winger. Yeah, that's a little weird. Oyvind says, I do not want to see Diaz playing striker. Okay.
When we saw it earlier in the year, I thought it was excellent. What match was that?
There was a few matches, I thought.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
Well, it's just...
Should we...
Go ahead.
Darwin should be on Haaland numbers. I agree with that. Ross says, but yet Darwin's never in position to receive those precise balls. I think I disagree with this. I think he is in position, and I think also maybe less in terms of balls over the top in the point I just made. But on crosses, he's always there. I feel like he always can get ahead on the ball. Or just wreak havoc, make a run to the near post to drag defenders out of position. Like you're right, he is a very unique player in the sense that he does what other players are unwilling to do at times. Pressing, making constant runs.
Coming back on
running
defense.
his ass off for 100 minutes.
Yep.
But unfortunately, that doesn't necessarily lend itself to stats, goals. So, this isn't the Darwin Nunez show, but shout out to him for yesterday. I'm happy for him. He deserves to be loved by the club. He's done nothing wrong to us. He's never made comments in the media about the club or anything like that. No. He's taken a lot of heat, and he bleeds for the shirt. I feel like he's got that Nat Phillips fire. Ooh. He would throw hands tomorrow for his team.
Know that. Dude was throwing his head. He was throwing his head for the club. Mm-hmm. And this is a perfect way to wrap up this segment of the show here is Darwin is special. Can't we celebrate his moment? And that's ultimately what we're getting at here is you have all this criticism, you have all these little points you can nitpick about Darwin Nunez, but let's just be happy for him at this point. Because of everything you just said, Steve, the work rate, the intangibles that he brings, when this happens, be happy for him. I mean, you just got to be happy for the guy. So
I would rather what happened yesterday than him score 4 goals in the last months in games we're comfortably winning. I'd rather him save us when we really, really need it than I don't care about what happened before yesterday anymore.
That's a good point. It almost wipes your memory. Yeah, it wipes your memory. You're like, oh, it's all good.
I know he's had a tough year, but you're only as good as your last match. And whatever.
Couldn't agree more. Moving on to Arsenal, man. Arsenal blow a 2-0 lead against Villa. And pretty brutal. Pretty brutal for Arsenal, man. What did you think about that?
I think, Liz says 100% we needed that win. God, we needed that win so bad, Kyle. That would have been 3 draws in a row in the league, I think.
That would have had me questioning, what's going on. And, I mean, even in our Discord, there were, we were saying, what's been happening to this team? Since Christmas, what's going on?
I think Nottingham Forest is just pretty damn good, if I'm being honest. So I
just pulled up the table, dude. I couldn't agree with you more. And
that draw was tough, but they're good. They wanted it more. They looked like they wanted it more. I felt like we were going to lose that match.
They're a good team.
And then United always step up their play against us. So those 2 draws, okay. It just hurts when they're back-to-back. And then you're on the verge of another one. If it's 1 draw every 8 weeks, sure. But when it's back-to-back and then you're on the verge of another one, that's what made yesterday so sweet. And we still have a game in hand. We're 6 points up. So conceivably, it should be 9. Our upcoming schedule in the Premier League is weak, Kyle.
Yeah. I'm
very weak
right now. Let me look at the schedule here. All right. Ipswich. All right. Got Ipswich, Everton, Wolves.
It's Wolves. Yeah, it's bad.
Jeez. Where are we at next? Then we have City. Okay. So the next 3 games, definitely. Man. That is, you're right. A little bit weak. This is a chance to capitalize. And Everton are up 2-0 on Spurs right now, bro. The hell's that about?
Good. I don't know.
Spurs are just spursing right now. What is that? How are you losing to Everton?
Dude, how is their manager still there?
Who? Spurs?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I don't know. Probably because they're still in the running for trophies.
The FA Cup?
I think FA or EFL Cup. They just I don't know. I really don't know.
I mean, they're up on us, but still, like, whatever, I guess.
I
Dude,
don't know.
they've got like 20 points. They've got 24 points.
They're struggling. They should not be struggling like they are.
And they've played 22 matches. You know, some people are on 21, some people are on 22.
Right.
So I guess today is their 23rd match. They got 24 points.
Yeah, Tottenham is. You're right, dude. I haven't looked at the table in probably a week or two. They're 15th.
It's really bad.
They're 15th in the table.
Dude, Wolves is going to have 2 games in hand. Wolves could catch them. Then it would just be Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton underneath Tottenham.
Southampton is on pace for a recordly bad year. Like, all-time worst Premier League, like,
ever.
Like, I mean, they're bad. But I want to go back to what you said about, we were talking about Arsenal and Nottingham Forest. Arsenal and Forest are level on points with 44, Steve. Nottingham Forest is having a Leicester-esque year, a 2015-16 Leicester-esque year where they just keep winning. And not only winning, but they're going up against the top sides and they're performing. They're drawing with us twice.
No, they beat us.
Oh, they beat us the first time. That's right. Holy crap.
Yeah.
I mean, even more to my point, they are a great team.
They're pretty good.
I'm blown away by the top 4. I mean, obviously you got us, Arsenal, Forest, Newcastle, Chelsea are in 5th. You got Bournemouth in 6th. City are in 8th.
Yeah, Bournemouth. Dude, so here's the thing. Mark my words. Forest will fall off. It's bound to happen.
I don't know.
They don't have the qualities to just sustain it for another 5 months. I'm sorry. They don't. Maybe they could finish top 4, which would be incredible.
That would be incredible.
It would be. But they're not challenging for the title. They are a solid team, but they're still Forest. There's almost no quality there. What they've done is very impressive, but as with anything else, Kyle, people come back down to earth.
I don't know, man. I'm looking at this team and it's really not as bad as you think.
I mean, Chris Wood, Kyle.
I mean, dude. All right, so
he's their best player. How's he scoring all these goals?
Chris Wood has always been a goal scorer, dude.
Really?
Not Bournemouth. At Burnley, he was a goal scorer. I think when he was at Newcastle, he didn't do too well, but
he had 14 Premier League goals last year, and this year he's got 13. Unreal.
That's pretty insane. I didn't know he had 14 last year. He's pretty good. But then you have Callum Hudson-Odoi, Jota Silva, Anthony Elanga, Emmanuel Dennis. I mean, these aren't nobodies. I mean, they're not top quality players, but these, I mean, you look at their James Ward-Prowse, Nicholas Dominguez, Morgan Gibbs-White, Ibrahim Sangare. We were linked with him. Their back line, you got Bali, who's a washed-up Wolves player. Alex Moreno, pretty decent left back. Milinkovic, not exactly the best, but serviceable. Nico Williams. Murillo's doing really well. You could argue their goalkeeping isn't great, but Matt Sells has done great this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, he's pretty good.
They're not nobodies. I'm looking at Forest, and then let's look at Bournemouth, for example. I mean, oh God, Bournemouth have Kepa.
Oh my God, so bad.
Oh my God, dude, Bournemouth.
Dude, Chris Wood's like 40.
I know, he's one of those old guys.
No, he's actually 33. Never mind.
Oh my gosh, but I don't know.
Do you know what country he's from?
Chris Wood. Don't tell me. New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive that you even knew that.
Yeah. I'm pretty good when it comes to that stuff.
5
But
points to Kyle.
let's go.
Liz says Forest have players that work well together and a solid manager. Yeah, shout out to Nuno, I guess. Wasn't he sacked from multiple places, then went to Saudi, and then left Saudi right away to come back here?
The Saudi thing, I can't remember. All I know is when he went to Spurs, he was dog shit. And I didn't
managed like 4 or 5 teams in the last like 5 or 6 years.
I know. For me though, I always rated him super high. And then when he went to Spurs and flopped, I like questioned him. I was like, damn, maybe this is a Graham Potter situation. Right? Like maybe he shouldn't have left the situation he was in. I didn't know he went to Saudi.
Yeah, he was. Al Ittihad.
Oh, well,
He
there
gets
you go.
bounced around, dude. He's getting bounced around.
Bounce around Europe, but hey,
Dude,
found a
unreal.
home. Found a home in
He was
Forest.
at Porto.
Damn.
Then Wolves for a solid amount of time.
Yeah, he was.
Tottenham for 1 year. Ittihad for 1 year. And he's been here for a year.
There was only one club in between that. Yeah.
Porto, Wolves, Tottenham, Al Ittihad, Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, but
so that's 4 clubs in less than 4 years.
Yeah. I had this debate with a buddy of mine who's a Liverpool fan. We were looking at Chelsea's managers since 2017 or 2018. Bro, they've had 8 managers in like 6 years. 7 or 8 managers. Mind-blowing. And now they're starting to figure it out, but they've always been like that. You look back, I mean, they don't value the manager as much as they do the players. I mean, Chelsea, even Jose Mourinho, his duration there was 2-3 years at most when he had success both times. I mean, it's kind of crazy. They just do not value the manager. I don't know. But I'll be interested to see if Nuno can carry this team the rest of the season, because you're right. Teams will always, revert back to the mean. Reversion to the mean is a big thing. And you can overperform and you can underperform. And it seems on paper that Nottingham Forest are drastically overperforming right now. But hey, they're doing us a favor, man. I mean, they're putting pressure on Arsenal right now. You're muted.
It's crazy. It's crazy what they're doing. But yes, they'll come back down. Here you go. Peter says, Forest throwing bodies online against us. This is not sustainable. Yeah, I mean, dude, their goalkeeper played out of his mind that day.
Yep.
It's not sustainable. You're right. And also, they play with such high energy that like you always come back down to earth. It's almost like they're playing heavy metal football at times. I'm watching them and I'm like, geez, like they're everywhere.
Well, all right, look, that works, right? How many teams do you know that know they don't have the quality, so they go up and against us or every other team in the Premier League, and they just play like a 4-5-1 or like a 4-4-2 low block. They just sit deep and they try to counterattack. There's something to be said when you just say, screw that. We're just going to play everywhere. We're going to sprint. We're going to run. Dude, it's working. It's working.
It's impressive.
It's so impressive, man. So impressive. 13 wins, 5 draws, 4 losses.
So their defense has been really good and their keeper has been excellent, but they've only scored. I mean, they have 3 goals right as of right now. But up until today, they only had 30 goals.
That's good defense because their goal difference is 13. Now,
Wolves has more goals. Wolves had more goals than them. Wolves is getting relegated. Like, they don't score enough. Brentford's got way more goals than them.
Wait. Without looking at the table, just for fun, guess what the goal difference for Southampton is?
-45.
Oh, close. -37.
Okay, I'm seeing it here now. Yeah, because I got it up on my other screen.
Oh
Damn.
my God. It's unbelievable.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it's brutal, man. And you got to think.
Have they
teams like
gone down recently?
who?
Did they just come back up?
Yeah, Southampton
They
just came
did. They
back
just
up.
went down and came back up.
So did Leicester.
They went down for 1 year.
Yep.
They went down for 1 year, now they're back up. So
Yep.
Leicester and Southampton, who, as far as I'm concerned, at least the last 10 years, were kind of staples in the league. I could be wrong. I'm just like guessing. They're just bouncing back and forth.
Well, I mean, it was
That
the
must be
first.
tough.
Well, it was the first year. It was the first year since God. I think Southampton were in the league for a decade. I think they were 10 straight years they were in, and they got relegated last year. Now they're back up. They're about to get relegated again. And Leicester, same thing. I mean, they won trophies when they were up here though, and now they're kind of going back and forth. Ipswich, they were never going to stay. Let's be honest. But now you're looking at teams like Wolves. Wolves have been, since they came up, a staple. Like 8 years or so now they've been up here. And really, the only other team that has been bouncing back and forth is Forest and Bournemouth, and look what they're doing this year. I mean,
well, Leicester's fall off needs to be studied, as far as I'm concerned.
it does.
There was a time where they had real players: Schmeichel, Tielemans, Madison, and Didi. That was their midfield. Those three. Pereira, Vardy, Mahrez. I mean, Conte, obviously, but like, I don't want to go that far back, but we're talking like just a few years ago they had these guys. They just had Madison. They just had Tielemans. What happened?
Well, so here's the problem, right? You have to replace those guys, right? Because you can't keep them. You can only keep them for so long. And then at a certain point, you're like, yes, we're going to sell on these players for this amount of money. Okay, and that makes sense. I don't even know if they sold Tielemans or if it was on a free. I can't remember. But you have to replace those players. And maybe they have players, on the assembly line and they're just waiting a couple years and maybe they'll be back. But to be honest, Leicester as a club have been run beautifully over the last 10 years. Just recently.
Dude, Patson Daka's there just rotting away.
That is honestly the saddest thing. I mean, Patson Daka we were linked with him. I thought we were going to get him. Goes to Leicester, hasn't done a damn thing.
I'm looking at their Connor Cody, Bobby D. Cordova-Reed.
Wow.
Ndidi's still there. Odson Edouard, Harry Winks, Jordan Ayew. It's like their best player.
But look at that. That's not a bad team.
I mean,
that's not a 14
not a bad
point
team, but the league is so good now.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. I think before we go down that rabbit hole of just talking about the other clubs and what's going on, I think that's a good place to wrap up that segment and move on to the contracts. Because there really hasn't been a lot of movement on the contract talks. We've just been flip-flopping with the Trent stuff, right? You see reports every day of Trent. Marsa is just relentless, dude. I'm seeing stuff from Marsa saying, deal done. He agreed to join Madrid. I mean, where's the accountability for journalism here?
There is none.
Like
there is none.
Even if it does end up being true, there is nothing to support that claim. Nothing.
I hope.
I mean, I don't know. That's just what I'm at.
You're right. There's nothing new on contracts.
I mean,
which is kind of nice.
Well, what's weird, so the Trent thing, there's less movement there. I'm reading more about Salah and Van Dijk. I'm actually seeing here from Caught Offside, and this is 5 hours ago. All right. Liverpool star Virgil van Dijk signs new 2-year contract. Listen to this. This is the article. According to Fikages, I don't even know who that is. The Netherlands international has already signed a new 2-year contract with the Merseyside Giants. How would we not know that?
Well, maybe they're waiting to drop it.
Like, I got to click.
But
on
I feel like
article.
I feel like he resigned. Honestly, like
I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. All right. So I'll read
And then
this to you
they're
guys,
just going to
okay?
announce all three at the same time.
Okay, so here it is. The report states that Liverpool are delighted with this development, and one imagines fans will also be celebrating once it's made official. Okay. Um, it seems Van Dijk's future has now been resolved, but Liverpool need to also ensure Salah and Alexander-Arnold stay put for next season and beyond. That's literally that's it. That's it. That's the only report. Where's the source? Like, all right, Fakages. All right, let me click on Fakages here.
All right, here's my thoughts on it. At this point, Kyle,
What is that?
we're fighting in all comps and favorite to win. Like at least 2 trophies this year. I think we'll get 2. The Premier League and maybe one of the cups. Hopefully, who knows? You know what I mean? I think we'll get silverware 2 times this year, at least. But it's really hard to enjoy that ride with this cloud hanging over the club. It's gotten to the point now where this is raining on the parade of the trophy journey. We're marching in a parade right now as a club, as a team, to these trophies at the end of the road, but it's fucking raining. It's pouring the whole parade. Do you feel like that?
I don't feel. I mean, that's a great analogy there. I thank you for painting that picture for me. But I'm annoyed. Like if it was pouring down rain on my parade, I'd be more pissed off. I'm not pissed off. I'm just annoyed. I'm annoyed that one, it hasn't been resolved yet, right? But even though I understand in the back of my head, like I know why. I know exactly why. But what does piss me off is the reporting on it. That's the only thing that pisses me off. I'm level-headed enough to realize that negotiations happen and they don't want to play it out in the public and all that. But I've also not been in that situation. How does the team separate the contract talks from day-to-day operations? Right? Like
the agents handle it.
Right. The agents handle it, but the players are talking to their agents, right? And how often, and we've talked about this before, how often do you think the agents are going in or calling and negotiating things, right? Is it every day? Is it once a week? Is everything done? We're just waiting? Like, and at the end of the day, the guys on the pitch, they're thinking about it. Like, it is distracting them a little bit.
Dude, every time I'm watching anything and the camera pans to Trent, all I can think about is the contract. He was a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 yesterday. He was incredible.
He was good.
But I didn't really feel like that because all I can think about is the contract. I don't think about it as much with Van Dijk, but when I look at Salah and I look at Trent, that's the first thing that comes to my head. And Salah's been playing out of his mind this year, but every time the camera pans to him, I think about the contract. And I don't think I'm alone in that.
No, I don't think you are. I think that's a good point.
Ross makes a good point here. All this contract talk is a distraction we don't need. We're going for glory, and this is what the news is about. And that's what stinks. Now, it's a privileged problem, right? These are not real world problems. We are being spoiled with the level at which this team is playing this year. It just really is annoying that there's this dark cloud over this.
I feel the same sentiment when I think about Van Dijk versus Salah and Trent. I'm confident Van Dijk resigns. Right? There's nothing in my head, nothing, where Van Dijk leaves. Like nothing, I don't think about it. But then let's bring up the argument there's no smoke without fire. There's a lot of rumors surrounding Trent, right? It's mainly to Madrid. It's nowhere else. But the Salah to Saudi thing, the longer this goes on, the longer he doesn't sign, the more it makes sense.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. It doesn't
No,
make sense.
I think I think he has the most the biggest reason to stay, and that's the records.
Right. Okay.
Van Dijk's the captain, so that's a huge reason as well. And Trent is a Scouser. They all have insanely important, large reasons to stay. It's not like these guys are kind of in a middle ground where you think about someone like Diaz, right? Like, what's keeping him here? If there was this contract saga with him, what's tying him here? They all have deep roots here. Salah needs these records. He's not going to go to Saudi. He is too proud to take that step down in his career. He doesn't care about money that much. If he cared about money that much, he'd already be there, making $1 million a week.
Yeah, fair.
Do you know what Sadio Mane makes over there, Kyle?
I don't even want
And he's dog shit. He makes like $850K a week or something insane.
Wow.
Stupid money.
It's just crazy. I'm just scrolling up and down at every news report you can think of, from 5 hours ago all the way to 3 days ago to 2 weeks ago, and everything is just flip-flopping. Okay, you have a contract offer to Trent worth $78 million. You have a contract agreement with Salah, but then 3 days later, Salah says there's no agreement in place. Saudi offers $70 million for Darwin and also ready to offer Mo Salah lucrative contract. Trent, no agreement with Madrid. I mean, I hate this. I hate the media. I hate the media. Not just sports media. I hate all of it, because it doesn't matter if you're looking at this objectively or you're emotionally attached to everything and you click on all this stuff. It still grabs your attention and makes you second guess things. Even if it's a fraction of an effect, it does affect how you look at this and how you feel. Like, you read a headline that says no agreement in place or Liverpool may lose Salah, you're thinking to yourself, holy crap, that might happen. Like, I think Salah's going. And it's just ridiculous.
I think the longer it goes on, you're right, it is ridiculous. You don't know what to believe. All of these outlets, Kyle, are junk.
Trash.
Absolute dog shit. But the longer it goes on, the more I'm like, okay, Trent, like, maybe you are leaving. And maybe I just don't care.
Dude, that's what that's what worries me. Like, the longer it goes on, that's what I start thinking.
But I'm not worried about the other guys. I'm really not. I'm telling you, I really think Mo Salah just wants to play in the best league in the world and break records. I really think Van Dijk's the captain, and he's probably the easiest going for these negotiations. But I part of me is like, Trent, are you really like enticed by going to Real Madrid? Because if so, like, thank you and goodbye. Well, look, thank you for what you've done and goodbye.
That's the point. That's why that's why there's been no comments from Trent about it. Right? The only thing he's saying is not playing out in the media. He's not using the media to leverage anything, right? In fact, it benefits him more by staying quiet, because if he says one thing or the other, it affects the negotiations, right? Salah hasn't done that. That's what scares me about Salah, right? Even though you and I are talking like Trent might be the most likely to leave, Salah's the one who's come out and has openly said there's been no movement on that. Like, that's kind of crazy.
But he's also been clear. He said, like, this is my last season at the club and shit.
It's
crazy. Almost like he's crying out for help. He's almost like he's crying out for help. He wants to stay. He does not want to leave. He's probably
Queasy,
like, damn, I can't believe we're in this position again.
Queasy, good to see you.
Queasy, legend.
I think Mo and Virgil are staying Trent as the wild card. But that's how I feel. I feel I'm like 95% Van Dijk staying. Probably even higher. All right. When it comes to Mo, I'm like 60-40. I'm feeling more negative about Trent every day that passes. But But everything you said makes sense. He's a Scouser. He's been at the club. He idolizes Gerrard, right? He's said before, the only other club I like is Barca. But when it comes down to it, and you have to make a decision when a big club like Madrid is actually interested, things change. That's what worries me.
Right. And it's a different Real Madrid at this point. The whole club is different. Before you know it, Courtois, I mean, he probably the one that stick around the longest, but everyone will be gone. Carvajal, Modric will be gone. Benzema's already gone. All these players, Casemiro, that were that Real Madrid are now gone. And it's been replenished with new talent. Valverde, Mbappe, Bellingham, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, all these players. Vinicius, it's a totally different team now. And I could see it being enticing to play there. For everyone in the world but Trent. And for some reason, he seems to be the one that could potentially be leaning that way. Like, dude, you're from the city. You are the vice captain. Is he still vice captain?
Yes.
You're the next captain. Like, what are we doing?
Bro, look, as much as I said I'm afraid that Trent is leaning towards Madrid. When I center myself again, and I think about this, and I think about Trent, everything you just said, he's from the city, he's the vice captain, right? I know that Trent, I have this feeling that Trent is just sitting back, feet up, reading all this shit, all the headlines, and just laughing. Just like, I'm not going anywhere, motherfuckers. I'm staying here. And he's just cannot wait for all of this to I feel like Trent's the kind of guy to do something like that Bellingham would do, but in the reverse. Like, where all these links with Madrid are coming, but then when he announces Liverpool, he says something like, I'm never going to a shit club, or something like so ballsy. Like, I feel like he's that kind of guy where he's like, I was never going anywhere. Or, the Champions League group stage game against Madrid really helped me make my decision, or something like that. Oh man. And that would really that would make all of this kind of worth it. All of this speculation and waiting, because I don't think he's that stupid, man. He wouldn't.
No, I don't either.
He wouldn't be welcome back in the city. Like,
dude,
are you kidding me?
I have to get out. I have to
get
this point out before I forget. Okay. We have been very patient with Trent. Trent has done amazing things to help us win trophies and bring us back on our perch. And for that, we are very grateful for him. I think all fans agree with me on that. However, when you go to Madrid and 1/3 of the games or 50% of the games, you're getting torched by a left winger, they're not going to be as patient with you. They're not. No. Because you've done nothing for them. You've won nothing with them. So when you're getting absolutely carved up by a nobody in La Liga, and you're getting blown by, and you're falling asleep at the back post on corners, they're not going to be patient with you. You're still going to get that fat check, but they're not. They have no allegiance to you. You've done nothing for them. And there's other players on that pitch that are better than you. So, I don't know. I think it's a foolish decision, but who am I, Kyle?
Dude, I could not agree more. I could not agree more. I think it is a foolish decision for him to go. Now, when you look at Bellingham, for example, Bellingham was coming from Dortmund. He doesn't have any allegiance to really any club, right? Dortmund was his developmental club. So he picks and chooses, right? I can see him choosing Madrid. We thought he was going to come to Liverpool, but he was like, I'm going to Madrid. And you can do that, chalk that down to money, or he didn't have any allegiance, or whatever the case may be. But you're right. Trent, he's been here, right? What incentive aside from money is there for you to leave? The only thing is money. The only thing. What else?
Supreme says Trent wants a huge signing on fee with Madrid. Maybe. But does he?
But how do you know? Right?
Maybe
how do you know?
Does.
I mean,
I mean, he's been at Liverpool for a long time. Maybe he just wants a new challenge. And if that's the case, as much as it's going to suck and we're all going to hate you, I can understand that as a human being. Like being in this, dude, you got to think about it this way. People work for companies for 15, 20 years and then they leave for a different company. It happens all the time. Not everybody retires where they spend where they devote their career to, right? So from that aspect, I can get it. Now, sports are different than business in the business world, if you will, because there's people who support you and it's entertainment and there's love and passion.
You took the words out of my mouth. Yep.
But at the end of the day, he is still a human and he may want a new challenge, or just a new city or whatever the case may be. I want to transition really quickly here because Ross says, what do you think of Haaland's insane new contract? And here are my thoughts on it. It makes me nervous because one, either there's a clause in his contract that says if we get relegated because of these charges, I can get out of this, which I hope is the case. Or somebody on the inside knows something that they're not getting punished. Because devoting 9 years or another 10 years or whatever to City seems like the worst decision any professional footballer could make right now. Am I wrong?
So I'm just going to do you one better, bro. I saw a report that insiders are confident that Man City are going to get off with nothing more than a fine. Okay? And if that's the case, look, there is nothing we can do, you and I, fans, right? I mean, unless we all band together and just boycott. But there's nothing we can do individually that is going to change the fact that when you have money and power like City do, you can fight for anything. You look at Everton, it was a quick, easy, 10-point deduction? Is that what it was? Quick and easy. Just 10 points.
Yeah, for like one charge.
For like one or two
whatever.
charges.
Yeah, I don't know, 10 charges, whatever.
All I can think of is the reason for that is they didn't have the personnel or money in place to fight that. City do.
I don't even know how you can fight it. That's what I don't understand. Like, these charges weren't made up, Kyle. They've been looking into this for years. What do you think? This is bullshit?
No. I'm not saying it. I'm saying it's all true.
No, I know. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying, how can they even fight this? How are they not just coming in looking for a settlement? Like, please don't relegate us. What are they doing? Are they trying to prove this wrong? These are facts.
Right. But there's also, when you have enough, I mean, this is just judicial, like 101. Like, and I don't know if this is pop culture or anything, and it's a completely different country and everything, but at least in the States, if you have good lawyers, there are things you can do to either prolong a process or appeal it to a higher court to where things get thrown out or there's a settlement, and all it takes is enough money. That's all it takes. And it's sad that it's like that, but it's also good because then you can advocate for yourself if you have the means. And it seems like we don't know the outcome yet, but think about the conspiracy side of it. Think about if City go down, what that does to Premier League revenue, to the TV deals. How much
I don't think
money?
it can't hurt that much. They suck.
No, they don't.
They have no fan base.
But I don't know. That's just kind of what we say, but that's not true. Like, the younger generation of fans that are coming up.
That is true. Okay, you're right.
You know what I mean?
There's no history there, but there are supporters, especially young.
Especially because now it's becoming more world known. Like the Premier League, everyone watches the Premier League now. It's not like it was 10 years ago. Like, the Premier League's on. It's on Peacock. People are watching it. And young kids are watching whoever's on every week, right? The top clubs are on every week. Liverpool, City, right? They're watching these clubs and they're choosing it. They're choosing the top clubs. And I'm telling you, man, City, there's something to be said It's kind of crazy. If nothing happens to them, if they get off with a fine, there's going to be an uprising from clubs and fans alike. Because Everton got deducted 10 points for 2 charges. Okay? What was the other team that got deducted? There was one other team. Was it Forest? I think it was
Might have been Forest.
But City doesn't? Now, we don't know yet, but this would be catastrophic.
People are saying that they won it, and that's why they're splurging right now. People are saying that they've won it. Like, I'm looking at articles from the last 6 hours, Kyle. Maybe this is perfect timing. Liverpool Echo.
Dude, that's catastrophic for the integrity of the league. That is catastrophic.
So, no, it's not over, but...
Steve.
People are saying that because they're spending, it's because they're confident that they're going to get through this other thing. Think about it. Would you lock down Holland and buy all these players in the market if you were about to get fined and relegated?
No. Yes. And I'll tell you why. If you lock them down, when you do get relegated, you can sell them. You sell them for more money. Right?
No, I think you sell them for less money.
Well, I'm saying, okay, all right, that's a good point, because when you're going down, you don't really have any leverage. But I think maybe they're trying to inflate the value as much as possible with this new contract. Right? I don't know. Dude, I don't know. It makes more sense that you're going to sign players and spend money when you're staying up. You're absolutely right. But, dude.
It could also be part of their strategy to claim their innocence or whatever. Hey, we know we're going to be off on this. We're going to just spend this money.
Or
where are we at?
Think about it this way. Hold on. Think about it this way. What if they're guilty? They're found guilty. They're not relegated, though. They're just deducted 10, 20 points. Right? They're still staying up. So they can still spend money. There's also that option. We're looking at this as the worst and best case scenario. There might be something in the middle where, yes, they get punished, but they're not relegated.
Then they didn't get punished. It's not enough. They should be, Kyle, they should be banned from the Premier League for a decade.
Well, trust me, I agree with you.
What do you think would happen to Everton if they had 130 charges? What do you think would happen?
Well,
we saw what they did for a 10-point deduction.
Exactly.
Kyle,
so that's a great point.
The club would be dissolved. They'd burn the stadium down. You'd never hear of Everton again for the next 10 years. It's insane, man. It's just absolutely insane.
I know
it is. It's so sad.
It is. And this is a situation where you really start to realize what power and money can do. Now, we don't know the outcome yet, but based on the outcome, you can seriously question. Because, dude, just think about what you can do for yourself with money versus if you don't have money. I mean, seriously, think about it.
People should boycott the Premier League if this happens, but they can't because they love their club so much.
Exactly.
But if people could just be a little bit more stout in their stance and just don't show up to games, I think that would go a long way. But that's the only thing that can happen. IBR Stellar says the UK is so corrupt. Everywhere's got corruption, but this is, this is absurd. This isn't one charge. This is 130. It's turned into 130. So all this investigation over years and years for nothing?
Let me ask you this.
They probably just paid a fine for something stupid. People are always getting fined.
Yeah, let me ask you this. What is the perfect scenario for you? What's the perfect outcome that's justified and would make you happy? Not just I want them relegated to League 2. What is the most realistic but justified result out of this for you?
Trophies stripped and 3-year ban from the Premier League. For cheating for the better part of a decade. For cheating and shitting on the integrity of the game that millions and millions of people and hundreds of players pour their heart into. And plenty of clubs can play by the rules, except you guys. I'm sorry. We'll see you in 4 years, and all those trophies are gone. You don't get to cheat. You don't get to. You don't get to lie. You don't get to be sneaky. You don't get to do that. You've already got all this money. You're already able to buy all these players that you want. You don't need to also cheat on top of it.
You just won my argument. I mean, you just won me over. There you go. Court adjourned. See you later, City.
Where's the gavel? We see Haaland and De Bruyne rowing down the
Thames. Just rowing out of London down the Thames on their way back to Belgium and Norway. See you later. Jesus, just in a canoe. See you later.
Thought it was interesting that Kyle Walker's leaving. Out of nowhere.
How about that?
Maybe he knows something. Maybe he
knows
they're about to bring the hammer down.
Maybe Sterling knew something. Well, no, I mean, I don't know. That was a while ago, but dude, I'm interested to see how that plays out. But God, Steve, what a good show today. What a good show today. Do you have any closing thoughts, man? Let me hear them.
I don't even know. When do we play next?
That's a great question. Play Ipswich next Saturday, I think.
Oh, good.
Well, that's Premier League. That's Premier League.
Lille on Tuesday.
Lille on
Tuesday in the Champions League. Match day 7 of 8. Great. Smoke them. And then got to beat Ipswich. I actually am curious about... You can hit me with your closing thoughts while I look into something over here.
So my closing thoughts with Darwin, be happy for the guy, right? Everything we want from a player in terms of effort and commitment to the club, Darwin gives us. The pressure's just so high on him. Let's just be happy for him when he does do well. All right, that's the first thing there. I'm thoroughly impressed with how Nottingham Forest are playing. I mean, it's actually kind of crazy how well they're doing. And if they can sustain it, this is an historic Premier League season for a club like them. And lastly, on the contracts and everything, I'm confident with Van Dijk. I really am. Salah, it's kind of, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I've heard these comments, but the record thing you brought up makes sense. The thing with Trent, because there's silence, the silence is deafening, dude. I'm like stressed about it. But deep down, my common sense tells me, and I think their common sense says the same thing, none of them are going anywhere. That's what my common sense tells me.
I agree. I think they're all staying. I've said that this whole time. I'm just starting to lose a little bit of confidence in Trent because of the timing of it all. I think Virgil's probably already locked up, good to go.
Virgil's been on a new contract for 6 months. Yeah.
Dude, I hope they just do some big, as corny as it is, at this point, you've dragged us through the mud, all announce on the same day and have some big fucking reveal video. Like, let's be super obnoxious about it at this point and just get it out of the way, because the last thing I want to do is have one person sign and then a while later another then we're in May and it's like finally the third person signs. Let's just get it over with. Let's continue on this parade without rain in glorious sunshine, and that's it. But I'm getting real tired of talking about these contracts.
I know. What I'm going to do, this is the last thing I'll say. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and look back when everyone's contracts have been announced, like what month, like contract extensions. I want to go back and look to see if there's a pattern. And then we can kind of determine. I doubt there is, but we'll see. All right. And big players too, like Firmino, Mane, or, Van Dijk's last extension, or, whatever the case may be. I want to go look back and I want to see if there's a pattern there. And then maybe we can kind of gauge what's going on. But Steve, thanks for being here, man. Great show. Everyone in the chat, thank you very much for your support. All of our channel members, we appreciate you guys. And everyone else who shows up every week to leave your thoughts. You guys are the best. Appreciate your time. And until next week, Reds, take care.